Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem, a postmortem of my Blitz game number 404. My opponent kicked off with d4, and I played d5. I was planning to play the Chigorin if he played the Queen's Gambit, declined, but he went for another route. He played knight f3, which often introduces the London system, and after knight f6, that's what we see, the bishop. And so I decide to trade off the bishop at my first opportunity. So I am trying to prepare the move bishop to d6, and I throw in this move h6. You see it's not in the opening book. It just has the simple idea of keeping the bishop off of this square. Probably not the best move here. And you see the advantage went towards white a little bit, but this is a slow opening, so it's not like it's a fatal mistake. We can continue on. This is a long game, so I will fast forward through some parts. He drops back to g3. An option here is for white to put the knight on e5 there and try and maintain it, particularly now that I've played h6. Once h6 is in, the knight on e5 is not easily chased away with a move like knight here and pawn to f6, because it leaves a big hole on g6. So this move really has some drawbacks, the h6 move. I don't recommend it. Okay, but he drops back, and I trade off the bishop. And you can see it's all okay at this point. Knight bd7. My turn. Knight bd7. c3, completing his setup. And I go with c5, just staking out a slightly larger share of the center and putting a little tension there. I can swap this pawn off at any time. And if he takes, it just brings my knight forward. So he's not particularly motivated to take here. He continues developing. I go b6, planning to get my bishop on this good diagonal. And he goes e4, breaking in the center immediately. This is all fine, I guess. You can see the evaluation is still about even. So I take it. He takes back. And then I go bishop to b7. I wasn't in a hurry to trade this bishop off, but if we back up, bishop to b7 was a mistake. So what did I fail to notice here? I failed to notice this knight e3 move came with a threat. It's kind of interesting. It seems like this is a fairly typical position, but there is a hole in my camp that I haven't protected, and that is the hole on d6 here. And bishop b7 doesn't really address that at all, and he just drops his knight into d6. Very uncomfortable. So let's back up. What should I play here? I should castle. Yeah, if I castle now, he can still put a knight there, but it's not a big deal. Castle. Actually, let's take a look at this. Castle. Knight here. Do I have anything great? Just c takes d4. He can take my bishop, but he's sacrificing, trading one of his developed pieces for one of my undeveloped pieces. This probably leaves me with an edge. Knight takes c8. Oh, you see it's still a move, but with advantage to black. Okay, so bishop b7, just ignoring the threat, and now he plays it. And, well, this is pretty nasty because it's a fork between my king and my bishop. The only thing that saves me is that this knight has trouble escaping from that location. So I move my king, and he takes the bishop, and I go after the knight. And the knight has no good way to get out. The best move is to just defend the knight in place with the move bishop a6. But he decided to sacrifice the knight, give the piece back, but he stays a pawn up. So good position for black. White. So white should probably go on to win this game. He's got an extra pawn on the queen side here. Cancel that. He didn't take back immediately. Oh, yeah, he left the tension here and played queen e2. Okay, all reasonable moves. I went g6 here. Let's see, what was I worried about? Maybe queen coming here, but the queen's not coming there with the knight. Maybe it prepares some knight move. I don't remember the motivation of g6 anymore. Oh, I know what it is. I'm just preparing a square for my king so I can complete castling and connect the rooks. Okay, he goes knight e5 and king g7. That's the idea. So knight takes. We get some exchanges here. And so I've managed to survive kind of in spite of myself. White has this lingering one-pawn advantage, but, well, the game goes on. So let's see. White castles. I've gotten my king to a reasonably secure position by sort of castling by hand. The rooks are connected. So I've got a decent position. I'm just down a pawn. And I can inflict a little bit of pawn damage with c takes d4, and that would be quite a playable position for black. I don't play the best moves here, and I leave him basically. I give him the chance to take, and that leaves him with a solid 1 pawn up. So now the score is +1. The evaluation is +1. Let's go on a few moves. We're just dancing around a bit until that move. Yeah, so let's back up 1 move. So knight d3 is a mistake. So here's your opportunity to spot the tactic. See if you can see why knight d3 is a mistake. Yeah, it allows a fork. I mean, it looks like a nice aggressive move. I'm moving my pieces forward. I was just planning to reroute it over here, maybe to here or something. Just trying to cause some damage, some trouble here, or maybe keep pressure on the f2 pawn. But he has this great reply, bishop to e4. It's just a simple fork. And there's no great square. Well, the queen can go here and defend the knight, but it can be kicked by a pawn, so I'm just losing a piece here. And I really could resign at this point. Well, I play on. It's still a bit of a complicated position, so I decided to play on. He takes, and I get a pawn for it, so I've got 4 pawns against 2 over here, and an active queen. G3. So he's kicking my queen around. It's just that the way he played, he didn't convince me that he was really going to win this game. And if you have gone through the game before, you'll see actually he gives me some chances in the game. So even though the evaluation, I'm just down a piece here, and it doesn't look like anything great is going on, he doesn't seem to find a good way to put me away. So he just goes c4. I go h5. My plan is pretty simple. His king is over here, a bit exposed with these pawns moved forward, so I'm just going to trade them off and try and create some tactics against the king. Maybe settle for a perpetual and get a draw. So he brings his bishop over to defend, but he allows me to open the file up. Maybe there's no way to prevent that. And you see the evaluation is steadily in white's favor, but somehow, now I seem to have some threats along the h-file, and he starts to run. And so we shuffle the pieces around some more. And like I say, somehow he never quite manages to coordinate his pieces and get that winning attack that he really should have with the extra piece. So all he's got is the material. He hasn't really convinced me yet that he's winning this game. And right here is a funny moment. So the engine evaluation switches suddenly right here to 0. So it's like the engine is predicting a draw here. But this is actually just a mistake. There's no draw here. In fact, I play one of the moves that the engine rates as drawing, right? I play queen b1, and he plays queen e1 there, blocking it. And now the engine says if I just play queen b2, it's drawing. So I play queen b2, and the engine realizes, oh, he doesn't have to repeat. So what happens is the engine spotted a repetition there, flagged it as a draw. But the repetition was not forced. He doesn't have to go back. So that was not a drawing opportunity at all. He just stayed +5 throughout that whole sequence. Okay, and now he starts pushing his pawn. And this is a good way for him to proceed, I think. This is a way for him to convert his advantage. Although it might be more convincing. No, c5 is a good move. I was going to say, I guess he can't get too frisky with his queen. He can't just bring his queen down here and mate me because... he doesn't have a whole lot of shelter around his king. The bishop is sort of acting like a surrogate pawn here, and but he doesn't have a lot of defense, so he needs to keep some pieces here. I guess that's why it's hard for him to really put the game away. Okay, so let's go forward a few moves. I am just maneuvering, trying to keep this pawn from advancing. He takes advantage of the pin here, snags another pawn. But this was a mistake, and now, yeah, right there. I mean, it looks like a good move, but he has abandoned the back rank with his queen. And now this move really is drawing. So queen c1 check. I have a draw here. I just have to play this right. King h2. And now I have to play queen f4 check. And because his queen has abandoned the defense of the king, I can get a perpetual check here. But I don't play it right. I play instead the move rook h5 check. And now he can escape from the checks with the bishop. I saw this bishop move. I thought queen f4 check would be good, but really I need to play queen f4 check first. If we back up, let's go ahead and see how the perpetual would have worked. Queen f4 check here, and the king doesn't really want to go to the back rank because I have the rook coming down. but that's the only move. If he goes to h1, he gets mated with rook to c1 check. If he goes to h3, he gets mated with rook to c5 check. Rook to rook to h5 is mate. King h1 leads to a mate in 5 after rook c1 check. So king to g1 is the only move that draws. And rook c1 check. Even that doesn't mate because he interposes with the bishop. Queen g5 check. Oops, wrong square. Queen g5 check. I have to be careful. I don't put my queen where you can take it. And king h2. Queen f4 check. King g2. So I guess he's just not escaping their checks. So we do get into a perpetual check situation like that. Or if instead of rook c1, I just wondered if rook c1 was mating, or queen c1 check also would lead to some kind of perpetual check. So I had my chance to draw the game. I just missed it playing these moves in the wrong order, playing rook h5 check first, and then queen f4 check, he goes to g2, and he can walk out of this. So I keep giving checks and looking for chances, but I don't find it. Let's see, right here he could escape with king to e2. I guess he didn't want to walk his king out in the open. It is a bit risky, but that's the way to draw, to win the game. So he gives me back the draw with this move, queen e1, and a very neat tactic. So you saw the game. This is also kind of a typical tactic, but always cool when you get to play it. Rook to g1 check, checks the king and drives it away from the queen. The king moves towards the queen. Well, still you have rook takes queen. You're winning the queen regardless. Rook g1 check. So your best move is to grab the rook, and queen takes e1 check. And once again, I have my draw. So this is a real draw, and I keep it for a few moves. Let's see. Yeah, I've actually got a slight advantage here according to the engine. But it's tough. He's got enough pieces. I think he can set up some kind of fortress. It's hard to figure out how to draw it. And so I just start giving these checks. And the game stays drawn by the evaluation for, I think, almost all the rest of the game. But he manages to start pushing these pawns forward. And, you know, I don't really have winning chances. He's always got, as long as he can keep his pieces protected. So if he drops the rook to a check, which is, you know, one of the things I'm hoping for here, then I can win. But as long as he's keeping all his pieces protected, then the only player that has a chance to win this game is white, because white can advance these pawns and get a queen. So white is still playing for the win, and I can only play for the draw. And I maintain my drawing chances all the way through until this move, the last move of the game. So second to last. I guess after this move, he's just delivered a check. I think I missed this and was a little bit disconcerted. Also, it was a long game. I was probably getting a little low on time. But, you know, I was delivering another check. I was just going for perpetuals. And he blocks the check with his bishop and delivers a check to my king. And I guess I have a couple squares I could go to. I could go to h5, or I could go to f6. So those are the only two squares I can go to maintain a draw. I guess f6 is the best square. But I went to h6, which allows the very nice rook and bishop mate. Another very typical mating pattern. So bishop supporting the rook delivering the check, and the one escape square, the king, blocked by the pawn. So nice finish to a game. Very, very cute tactical finish. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.